I must start off by saying that this election has left me bruised, distorted, frustrated, traumatized as a woman, as an activist, as an academic, in all kinds of ways. And I beg to disagree and to differ a little in saying that I feel that we are not in a nice place. In some means, yes. But I feel possibly if you've been in the politics for over 20 years, as I have been, you would find that we are not in a nice place. So let me try to use up my 15 minutes wisely and try to be as relevant as I can, given the political creature that I am. My study for my thesis was very interesting because it looked at women across Trinidad and Tobago who've accessed political office. And accessed mean who fought elections and won elections. And it was done across party lines. So I studied women from all the political parties, inclusive of the NAR, COP, TOP, COP, UNC, PNM. So it was a study of 10 women, small sample, but very, very interesting because they were chosen as well from different religious backgrounds, different age groups, because I want to do a cross-section that represents different voices in the politics. And of course we hear of women not being in the politics in the numbers that we'd like. So as a person who got into politics some 20 years ago, and as a person who struggled through the politics and through the life of politics, I decided that I wanted to find out more about this. And just to briefly say is that the themes that came up during my study talked about the politics of access. 4 themes: family responsibilities, involvement in organizations, and level of readiness. And for the purpose of this discussion, I want to focus a little bit on the politics of access. Because I looked at, just to give you briefly, some of the women who were part of this study: Penelope Beckles, Paula Gopi-Schoon, Pablo Nicholson, Vanella Allen Toppin, Carolyn Sipisad Beecher, and Ramona Ramdial, Khadijah Ameen. Those are some of the women who participated in this study. And what this study unearthed, of course inclusive of my own study, because it was a qualitative study done through narratives. What came out is that out of the 10 women, except to a small extent, none of the women had an interest in politics. They were all politically recruited, yes, by political gatekeepers, who were all? Thank you very much. Yes. So it came up very, very clearly that women, they were recruited based on 2 things: a level of competency and a level of readiness that the gatekeepers thought that they possessed. And of course, in looking at those women and looking at the competencies and the readiness, of course it will be from a certain perspective, based on a certain view of what competencies would reflect and what readiness would reflect. And of course, Khadijah alluded to it, the level of readiness for a woman, her competencies would differ greatly to the competencies required of a man. So for example, we have several instances where women, they would have come in by and large in 2 extremes, either when they were single and had no responsibilities, or when they were older And their children would have gone off to universities and they were free and had nothing else to do with their lives, so they go into politics. Hence the reason for some of our policies. Yeah? So, I'm sorry, that's how I see it. So, that struck me a great deal in my study. And although I would like to go a little bit more into it, I wanted to move this over now to the level of readiness that we want our women to have, and how that level of readiness impacts on a woman and the spaces that a woman finds herself in when she tries to access the politics and when she tries to find herself in the space of the politics. So you want a certain level of readiness. You want more women in the politics, but you're not prepared for certain kinds of women in the politics. And the kinds of women in the politics that I'm talking about is the independent woman, the woman with her own voice, her own thoughts, who will not toe the party line, who will express independent views, and so on. So it doesn't clash. It doesn't come together. All right? So on the one hand, we want a woman, but we want to determine what kind of woman we want. We want the pliant woman who we can bend all over, who will say all the right things, who will do all the right things. And then when we get the women there, we want them to go up there and make policies for all of us, relevant for all of us. And then at the end of the day, we're not even supporting the women when they get up there. Yeah? I want to talk a little bit about my experience in the campaign and to help you to understand how this plays out. So I would have been involved heavily in the San Fernando West campaign. And that was very interesting because I don't know if it's a phrase that exists, but I want to use this term to describe how I see this politics playing out. And for the first time in Trinidad and Tobago, I mean, to this extent, I used the term, I saw the sexualization of politics coming to play. Very much so. And I want to use the San Fernando West example to tell you how it came out. So we had Faris. All right? And the women were ooh and ah and oh about Faris. And then, so you had Faris as the perfect example if we were to think about this ideal candidate. All right? And then we had Jowelle. And then we had a Muslim woman in a hijab representing the UNC. Now, those kinds of dynamics made for interesting politics. Now, when you're strategizing for a campaign, party and strategists will tell you, they will tell you what they know. All right? They will come with a notion of a type of strategy that they want you to pursue, notwithstanding the dynamics that you have to deal with in a particular constituency. And I want to say that in my 20 years of politics, I have never encountered female, my time is up, strategies? Okay. So, yeah, 3 minutes. And when you are even involved, as I was in the management team of the campaign, you saw it continues to be predominantly male-dominated, and the strategies sometimes are not relevant. And when you have to struggle to find your space in that setting and to find your voice in that setting, although you're a professional, although you're an expert, but nobody takes you on because you have this thing called woman attached to your psyche and everything else and how you look. And to make matters worse, if you're 5 feet tall and a little skinny looking, all right? So that makes it worse. Well, Khadijah, you see? You see? Thank you very much. So that you are not even seen as possessing an expertise because it's coming from you as a woman, because the expertise is thought to lie in the male domain. So you're not even seen as an entity in the political campaign. So I would have come up with some weird ideas like, for example, when they were selecting candidates, I would have said, okay, even within the UNC, why not let us invite 5 or 6 people who are interested in the seat to come and sit in a panel, tell us what their policy, what they plan for San Fernando, give a reason for wanting to be the candidate, explain to us why they would make the perfect candidate. How will I find the idea, Songin? No, we don't want that. So, and why we don't want that? Why would we not want to open up the process, the political process? Because we are so steeped in the politics that we understand and know and love that we can't see outside of the box. And I dare say none of the political parties, they are prepared to move outside of that box and open up the political process. It's difficult, and even if you try, you will be branded. They will not want to have you in the little cause, and you will be labeled as a troublemaker because they don't want to see you as having that independent thinking and independent thought. Jowelle, I want to tell you, I am very glad that you did not see some of the things that I saw on social media. I was mortified, disappointed, disenchanted. And not only with that, but I was disenchanted by the level of disrespect across the board. I saw religion coming to play. People were being attacked because of their religion, of their religious belief. It was a war between Hindu, Muslim, Christian. We don't want a Hindu prime minister. We don't want a Muslim person. And Christianity seemed to be the dominant right and has the right and the view in this election. And that came out strong, right? And on my Facebook and the social media, I have friends across the board because I make that my business, right? That respect has to transcend across all kinds of boundaries. And I cannot sit down and not register my level of disgust with the intolerance and downright disrespect I saw in this politics. The disrespect of women, the disrespect of our female prime minister, I saw it. It was nasty. And I'm telling you, and I make no bones about it, I saw it coming from women who ought to know better. And women purporting to be women's rights advocates. I have to say that. Thank you very much. I also have to say that it was not only targeted against the woman prime minister, I also saw it coming against Mr. Rowley. And I want to leave by saying that at this stage, it hurts my heart. It hurts my heart and it hurts the core of my being and who I am. I said that people needed to have counseling after these elections. And I maintain that political parties, you ought, whoever, if anybody is here in the hierarchy of the political parties, you need to do something and make sure that after elections, whether whatever, people, you address the issues of the trauma that people go through for elections and make provisions for it and not throw people by the wayside when the elections are done. People, I'm sorry, I wish I could talk a little bit more, but my time is up. So thank you very much for listening.